I come from NOAA's Geophysical Fluidodynamics Laboratory in Princeton. And I want to, the words have been said, and they need overemphasizing, of course, but Yoram was a great man, great scientist, but a great human being. My association with Yoram was not so personal as some of the others have had, but I did have the privilege of exchanging a lot of information with him, primarily over national and international meetings and workshops over the last 10 to 15 years. More particularly, I had the honor of actually meeting him and his wife over a dinner at Aspen in the same summer colloquium that was held 2 years back. I wish I'd had more opportunities. They were really fun dinners because Yoram could just keep on spouting one idea after another, non-stop. And in this regard, another memory comes back to me is in connection with the IPCC assessments. IPCC is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and they compile the most comprehensive and state-of-the-art scientific assessments of climate change. And I was associated as an author in the third assessment, which came out in 2001. And Yoram actually had quite a hand in it, particularly on aerosols, because there were a lot of icky issues in aerosols, which is why Yoram was working on them. He always liked challenges. And Yoram settled a lot of arguments about a particularly nauseating and nasty aspect of it. I won't go into the technical details about it. But Yoram said, why do you get serious about it? You know, just write something. It'll have to change. After all, research continues, advances. Things will change. So we kiddingly told Yoram, maybe you will be updating this all along for the next few decades. And Yoram was like that. You already heard about it, but his non-serious attitude, but yet rooted in rigor and in scientific precision, which he was always constantly updating through ideas, was actually leading science forward. And I want to register that because that particular assessment really carried a lot of Yoram's ideas in print. And that it's not quite ended there because there's an ongoing assessment, and Yoram was actually part of a panel that collated the comments from the US government going into the assessment, which is still ongoing. We've said all the words. I think as we wind down in this memorial here, I want to kind of cite two things which I personally will be taking forward in time as examples of how to do science and how to do the inquiries in science. It is particularly poignant, very tragically poignant in fact, that a group of us from Princeton came down last Thursday and had a whole day's meeting with Yoram and his group. We are basically modelers of the climate system. Yoram was an observer of the climate system. And for a long time, Yoram and Paul Genou in our laboratory had been discussing about setting up a meeting where the twain shall meet. We met, we had lots of interesting ideas, and among other lighthearted things that Yoram said was how he was downloading modest data in a cafe in Rome, and that he was able to do science, probably wrote a GRL paper right there. And it was hearing such things that make you really appreciate the simplicity of his whole thinking. I mean, he was thinking about complex things, but there is a way to think about them simply, and Yoram showed that way. And even though now we discussed ideas of collaboration, which would have gone into the next 5 years and so on, he will not be with us, but he is still a shining beacon of all the passion and the energy and the humanity that goes with the science. And I'll personally strive to keep up to it. To his family, that is a shining example indeed. Thank you.